Have you ever noticed other dogs go running to their owners when called, but yours just ignores you? Is it stubbornness? A lack of training? Or is there something you're unknowingly doing that's teaching your dog to ignore you? The answer might surprise you. Let's uncover 10 reasons your dog won't come when called and how to fix it fast. Number 10. Bad associations. Have you ever called your dog only for them to look at you like you just insulted their ancestors? If your pup ignores you, it might be because they've learned that coming when called leads to something unpleasant. Think about it. If every time you call them, they get a bath, scolded, or leashed up after a fun run, they'll start connecting their name with bad news. Dogs are all about cause and effect. If "come here" means the end of their adventure, they'll take their sweet time responding, or just pretend they've suddenly gone deaf. Science backs this up too. Dogs associate words with experiences, just like humans do. If your recall command has a history of leading to punishment or disappointment, their brain flags it as something to avoid. Instead of chasing them down like a maniac, switch things up. Make coming to you a jackpot moment: treats, belly rubs, or their favorite game. Number 9. Too many distractions. Calling your dog in the middle of an exciting chase is like trying to get a kid's attention at a candy store. It's just not happening. If squirrels, birds, or a particularly interesting smell have their focus, your voice becomes background noise. Dogs are wired to react to movement, scent, and sound. And if something more thrilling is happening, they'll prioritize that over coming back. It's not defiance. Their brain is just telling them, hey, this is way more important right now. Science explains this as selective attention. Dogs naturally filter out less urgent stimuli when they're locked onto something exciting. This means that if you're competing with a running rabbit or another dog playing, you're losing that battle. The key is training them in low distraction areas first, then gradually increasing the challenge. Start in a quiet space, reward them heavily for responding, and work your way up. Number 8. Inconsistent commands. Why does your dog sometimes come running and other times act like they've never heard their name before? The problem might not be them, it might be you. If one day you say, "come," another day it's "come here," and sometimes you just shout their name expecting them to figure it out, you're basically speaking 3 different languages. Dogs thrive on consistency. If the command keeps changing, they don't know which version to obey, so they just ignore all of them. This is called cue confusion, and it's backed by science. Studies show that dogs learn best when commands are short, clear, and always the same. If one person says "come" with a happy voice while another yells it like a warning, the dog doesn't know what response is expected. The fix? Pick one word, stick to it, and make sure everyone in the household does the same. Number 7. Overusing their name. Have you ever called your dog's name a million times in one day, only for them to look at you like you're speaking a foreign language? If you're calling your dog's name constantly, they may start tuning it out. Dogs are creatures of habit, and when they hear their name too often, it loses its meaning. It's like if someone kept repeating your name over and over without ever asking you for anything. It gets a little annoying, right? The same happens with dogs. When they hear their name all the time, it just blends into the background. This happens because, in the animal kingdom, repetitive sounds without a purpose aren't worth paying attention to. Research shows that dogs only respond to their name when they associate it with something positive. The trick is to save your dog's name for moments that matter. Call them when there's something exciting going on, and soon they'll be rushing to you every time they hear it, knowing that good things are coming. Number 6. Different locations. Why does your dog listen to you perfectly inside the house but completely ignore you at the park? It might be because they haven't learned to respond to your recall command in different environments. When your dog is in familiar surroundings, like your cozy living room, they associate your call with something important. But in a new place, like a bustling park, distractions like other dogs, cats, or even just the wind can take their focus away from you. It's like trying to have a serious conversation while there's a party going on next door. The solution is simple: practice. Start training your dog in quieter places first, then gradually add more distractions like parks or busy streets. The more they hear the recall command in different settings, the more they'll understand that coming to you means something good is coming, no matter where they are. Number 5, failure to reinforce. Why does your dog sometimes respond when called, but other times just wander off? The issue could be that you're not reinforcing the behavior consistently. Dogs thrive on routines, and when they aren't sure what to expect from a command, they might lose interest. It's like trying to follow rules in a game that keeps changing. It can get confusing and frustrating. If your dog has been allowed to ignore you occasionally without any follow-through, they might begin to think it's okay to skip your call when it's convenient for them. To address this, you need consistency. Every time you call your dog, there should be either a reward or a gentle consequence. A one-word reward like yes or a simple good can affirm their correct action. On the flip side, if they don't respond, avoid repeating the command endlessly. Instead, calmly bring them back to you. This way, they'll learn that ignoring you has consequences, and responding to your call always leads to a positive outcome. Number 4, your tone is off. Have you noticed that your dog listens one day when you call him with a happy voice but ignores you the next when your mood is different? Dogs don't just hear your words, they feel your energy. They can tell dogs if we're stressed or angry by picking up on changes in our voice tone, body language, and even our scent. If you call them in a happy, excited tone, they're more likely to come running. But if you sound frustrated, impatient, or even unsure, they might hesitate or ignore you completely. To them, your voice isn't just noise. It's a signal telling them whether to come eagerly or stay where they are. And how can you fix it? Pay attention to how you sound when calling your dog. Use a confident, upbeat tone that makes them feel safe and excited to respond. Avoid yelling or sounding annoyed, as this can create hesitation or fear. If you've had a stressful day, take a deep breath before calling them to reset your energy. Some trainers even recommend using a playful, slightly higher-pitched voice, as dogs respond better to positive vocal cues. Number 3, you are not the alpha for him. What if your dog sees you as just another member of the pack instead of the one in charge? In the wild, dogs follow a strict hierarchy where the alpha leads and the rest obey. The alpha isn't necessarily the biggest or strongest, but the one who earns respect through confidence and control. If your dog doesn't recognize you as their leader, they'll decide when to listen, if they feel like it. That's why some dogs ignore commands, especially when something more interesting is happening around them. To change this, you need to establish authority in a way they understand. Set clear rules, maintain calm confidence, and control key resources like food and attention. Walk ahead on leash walks. Don't reward pushy behavior, and always be the one to initiate play or affection. If they ignore your call, avoid chasing them. Walk away instead, making them realize that staying close to you is their best option. Number 2, hearing or health issues. Imagine calling your dog over and over, but they just sit there, staring into the distance. Or worse, they don't react at all. At first, it seems like stubbornness, but what if they actually can't hear you? Hearing loss, ear infections, or even age-related decline can make it harder for dogs to respond. Some breeds are also more prone to deafness, and if they've had frequent ear problems, their ability to hear commands might be fading without you even realizing it. Other health issues, like joint pain or neurological conditions, can also make a dog reluctant to move, even if they want to come to you. The first step is ruling out medical causes. If your dog is suddenly ignoring commands, check for signs like head shaking, frequent ear scratching, or changes in movement. A vet visit can confirm if their hearing is declining and offer solutions like hand signals instead of verbal cues. Joint supplements or pain management can help with mobility issues. Number 1, past trauma. The last one on our list might be the most heartbreaking. What if your dog isn't ignoring you, but is actually scared to listen? Dogs with a history of abuse, neglect, or even one really bad experience can associate being called with something terrifying. Maybe a previous owner yelled their name before punishing them, or they got lost once and learned that running toward a human isn't always safe. Even rescue dogs who've had a good life might still carry hidden fears that make them hesitant to respond. To fix this, patience is your best friend. Avoid sudden movements or a harsh voice when calling them. Instead, make come a rewarding experience. Use their favorite treat or toy and reinforce it with positive energy. If they hesitate, give them space and let them approach at their own pace. Building trust takes time, but once they realize responding to you leads to safety and comfort, they'll start coming with confidence.